My name is Francisco and this is Music Meadow. In today's video we check out the Black Coat, Wu Fat's fourth album. So Wu Fat are an American stoner rock band from Dallas, Texas. They were formed in 2003 and they've got 6 albums, 1 live album and 3 EPs. You know, at 20,000 monthly listeners on Spotify, you can't really say they're a big band, but they're not small either. Their music is really exciting and there's some of the best fuzz the US has to offer. I'm really excited to be talking about them here today, of their album The Black Coat. The album is divided into 5 songs. Each track, is really long, and that's why they can have a long album of only 5 tracks while still maintaining a long duration times. The smallest music is 5 minutes and the biggest I think is around 15 minutes. So yeah, not surprising they're another normal stoner rock band. This album is kind of divided into 2 parts. They're either jamming or riffing, and it's honestly pretty clear to understand which one they're doing at any given moment. Anybody with some music experience will see the difference pretty clearly. The album Black Coat starts with a song called The Lost Highway. It's got a slow jam that picks up after the 30-second mark. The tipping point is at 3 minutes and 55 seconds. After the 3:55 mark, when there's the tipping point, like I said, we've got a really big riff starting, a really cool drum beat to settle off and start to explain the rhythm of how this album's gonna be. The Black Coat, which is the second song, has a unique beginning. Spending over the 51-second mark, the dragged guitar energizes with a really cool, sort of slow jamming riff. Like I said, at the 51-second mark, it marks a really big difference. We get a heavier but slower pace of the music. The 5-minute mark on this music, the Black Coat, comes with a really big difference. There's kind of like a burst of energy. We get a new pace, a new rhythm, a new riff. It's got a really, it's got a lot of variation. I think this part is one of those parts that is really characterized by the jamming part, right? They're not exactly defining what they're gonna play. They're gonna jam along the song and hope that things do well. This song is one of those 10-minute long or 10-minute plus long songs that are just really enjoyable. Then the next track is my favorite track in the album. It's Heard That Gone. It's amazing, really energetic, heavy. It's got a really nice drum beat. It even has a cowbell on the drums, which is not too common, honestly. The initial parts, it's really L, with the creative drumming we're presented with, as well as the uncommon use of the cowbell, like I previously said. And then the next 2 tracks are more jam focused. I don't really have too much to say about Heard That Gone. I mean, it's my favorite track. It's really heavy, it's energetic. I think it's the one that's around 7 minutes long or a little bit more, but it's just, listen to it, you're gonna really enjoy it if you're a stoner rock fan. The 4th song in the album, The Shard of Lang. For the first 5 minutes, it's almost like a trip, It's much more open and patient than Heard That Gone. It's got, like calmer, slower but cool riffs, mindlessly playing. We've got the, typical calm guitar riffs being thrown left and right, exactly like I described before. It's almost as the guitar player is just drifting mindlessly, producing slow riffs that progress really well together, as well as the slow punching drums. It's more of a chill part, honestly, but it's really glorious. It picks up a proper rhythm at around the 6-minute mark, and then it slows down shortly after. After the slowdown, we've got more riffs and vocals. We then have short drum solos up until the 7:50-minute mark. At the 7:50-minute mark, we have a culmination, and then the drumsticks start hitting something else other than the drum heads. I don't specifically know what it is. I think it's just hitting on the parts around the drum head. I'm not exactly sure. It's something that stands out because it's uncommon. It's not the drum heads, so it's out of the ordinary. It's really cool that they're doing this because, you know, it's uncommon, you know, hitting the drumsticks in something other than cymbals or drum heads. It's really good and adds some variation. The following riff is hard and strong, and it's got really cool drumming. The drumming gets more intense. Then at the 9-minute mark, we've got pure headbangers joy, you know, it's really cool. It's one of those parts, I think, where they're jamming. It's one of those parts where they're riffing really hard. There are riffs left and right. It's a culmination of all. Then we progress to the last song, Sleep of the Black Lotus. It starts slow, but it hits the punchline at about 1 minute and 30 seconds. I think from there on it starts to have a lot of variation, a lot of stuff, and I think it's got some riffs and parts from previous songs in the album. It's got some unique stuff, but honestly, it's got the exact same stoner rock vibe, you know, nothing really stands out. While the lyrics follow the kind of story about the Black Code, they don't exactly form a specific story or a specific follow-up of events that actually make too much sense. They don't really have anything standing out. They don't really they don't stand out too much. They're nothing special. There are mentions of ghosts, of the devil, of a machine, of a spirit inside a machine, of a beast inside a machine, mentions of Black Code. Nothing too serious and relevant, honestly. Honestly, I can understand how people don't enjoy the vocalist's voice. I personally don't enjoy it too much as well, but you know, it stands out a little bit because it's out of the ordinary. And as you listen to the band more and more and more, you kind of get used to it. With their fourth album, The Black Code, Wu-Fan actually proved they can craft really cool fuzz and groove-like songs. They can craft some really cool laid-back grooves, as well as highly structured songs. I honestly really strongly recommend you to check them out. You know, they're some of the best stoner rock I've heard. I think their latest album came out in 2016, and I might be doing a review or a get-to-know about that album in the coming weeks. Stay tuned, I'm going to talk more about them because I really enjoy them and I really like them, and I hope you do as well. If you want to know cooler, small, medium-sized bands, definitely subscribe to the channel. I'll be covering stuff, and I'm also going to start doing some videos talking about upcoming albums or talk a little bit about recent albums that have come out recently. So I hope you enjoy the content. Stay tuned. I've got some social network links in the description. If you want to support me on Patreon, do that as well. I recently started, so any feedback is appreciated. Thanks so much, guys. I love you all.